What if the only chance of saving your life was in the hands of someone who never believed in love? In an unexpected arrangement, a patient on the brink of despair and a surgeon who lives only for his profession embark on a journey where the lines between the professional and the personal blur. But when illness threatens to take her away forever, he must decide how far he is willing to go for this newfound love, a love that now defines his very existence. Don't miss a single scene of this thrilling story of struggle and true love. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to follow every twist and turn of this transformative journey. New York never stopped, and at St. Joseph's Hospital, where Raphael Moore worked, this was even more evident. A surgeon renowned for his precision, Raphael carried with him the reputation of being one of the best of his generation. But his excellence brought with it an isolation. The doors to his heart, as firmly closed as his focus on his career, never seemed to open. At 35, Raphael lived for the scalpels, the complicated cases, and the feeling of solving what others thought impossible. In the corridors of the hospital, they respected him as an unapproachable figure, someone who always left his humanity hidden behind the infallible posture of a doctor. At the opposite end of town, Anna Collins woke up every day facing a silent battle. A preschool teacher with a genuine passion for teaching, she was adored by her children and maintained an optimism that was hard to shake. But underneath that smile was the shadow of a cruel and definitive diagnosis, a serious illness that required treatment she could never afford. The cost was beyond any possibility, and Anna felt her strength dwindle along with her hope every time she sought help and heard a negative response. She was only 29, and life seemed to be slipping through her fingers. One morning, their fates intertwined. Raphael received a call from his lawyer, Mr. Thompson, for an urgent meeting. When he arrived at the office, he listened attentively as the lawyer explained the terms of his late great-uncle's will. The inheritance would go to Raphael, but there was an unusual clause. He would only be entitled to the money if he had been married for at least 3 months. Thompson emphasizes that the condition is non-negotiable. Raphael then realized that the money was the ideal solution to his ambition of creating a foundation to treat sick children. He knew that the foundation would need its own resources, but he wondered if the marriage commitment was really worth it. Days passed as Raphael analyzed the alternatives and became convinced that a contract marriage could be a simple and practical answer. After all, it would avoid the emotional interference that he was so keen to avoid. Raphael then decided to look for someone who had as much to gain as he did from this arrangement. He remembered Anna Collins, a patient he had treated weeks before. He had learned about the seriousness of her condition and her lack of financial resources to afford adequate treatment. If they reached an agreement, he would win the inheritance and be able to carry out the project, while she would have the chance to fight for her life. On the appointed day, Anna was called to the hospital for a meeting that would change her life. She enters the meeting room, trying to hide her surprise at the formality of the environment. Raphael greets her with a discreet nod and gets straight to the point. "Mrs. Collins, I know your medical situation, and I know that the treatment you need is expensive, inaccessible in your situation." He begins, his voice devoid of any emotional tone. Anna hesitates, her stomach tightening at his frankness. "I have a proposal for you, something that could help both of us." Raphael explains the situation and the clause in the will, and she listens carefully, but without fully understanding. "In order to receive the inheritance and found the children's center, I have to be married for at least 3 months, he continues. "In return, I'll offer you full treatment free of charge." Anna was shocked. The proposal seemed surreal, and she felt the weight of the decision on her shoulders. Raphael makes it clear that this was a formal arrangement. No personal involvement, just an exchange of benefits so that they would both gain from the deal. "And how long do I have to think about it?" she asks, still processing the unexpected. Raphael keeps his gaze steady, although a hint of hesitation is present. "I'd like to resolve this as quickly as possible. If you accept, the wedding will take place in a few days, and the treatment will begin immediately," he says. His objectivity, once uncomfortable, was what now made Anna confident that he had no ulterior motives. He seemed, above all, to be a man driven by the desire to fulfill his goals. And she now saw the chance of survival there. After a long silence, in which they both exchanged serious, thoughtful glances, Anna finally nodded. "I accept," she says, her voice slightly shaky as she digests the weight of her own choice. He just nods, almost as if the outcome was predictable, and begins to detail the next steps, explaining the procedures for the civil marriage and the documents she would need to sign. Over the next few days, Anna prepared herself for the big change in her life. Each day seemed like a test of resilience, a countdown to the start of a new chapter. On the other side, Raphael felt uncomfortable with his decision, without admitting his growing anxiety about the arrangement. He knew that nothing would ever be the same again, and deep down, a flash of doubt and emotion emerged, like a threat to the control he had always maintained over his own life. On the morning of the wedding, they both went to the registry office. Dressed simply, they exchange vows that say nothing about love, but carry the seriousness of a promise. On the way back to the hospital, the silence between them is absolute, almost solid, as the weight of the decision settles on both of them. For Anna, the sacrifice seemed worth it. For Raphael, there was a veiled certainty. This temporary contract was the start of something he couldn't have foreseen. At the end of the day, as they both left the hospital in opposite directions, an invisible thread connected them. The deal between them was sealed. But deep down, Raphael and Anna knew that this was only the beginning of a journey that would force them to face not only Anna's illness, but also the weight of everything that was yet to come. The wedding took place on a gray morning, marked by haste and distance. At the registry office, there were no flowers, no party, and even less smiles. Raphael and Anna signed the papers with the formality of a business contract. But for Anna, the weight of the words husband and wife resonates like something absurd and almost comical, if it weren't so serious. When they exchange the simple rings, they also exchange a shy and uncertain look, like two strangers linked by a strange and intense, but undeniably vital purpose. At first, living together proves to be a challenging exercise. Raphael decides that Anna should live with him to give authenticity to the marriage and to facilitate her access to the hospital and treatment. Although the proposal makes sense, Anna feels uncomfortable. Accustomed to her small apartment, with its collection of books and plants, Raphael's apartment seems like another world. Minimalist, with cold furniture and neutral tones, the place was a mirror of Raphael himself. Methodical, impersonal, and carefully organized. The idea of sharing that impersonal space with a man who seemed incapable of relaxing was disconcerting, to say the least. Already in the first few days, small tensions arise, but in an unexpectedly comic way. Raphael maintains an almost exaggerated rigor in everything he does, while Anna prefers a freer, more spontaneous style. He is perplexed to find his tea collection strewn across the kitchen counter, and she finds it strange how meticulously he organizes the drawers. This dynamic soon creates a light atmosphere, albeit tense, but somewhat comical, with Raphael compulsively adjusting objects that Anna moves unintentionally. Although these were days of adjustment, each with its own challenges, Anna noticed something new about Raphael. His strict nature seemed to hide a deep loneliness. He didn't keep personal photos or objects of sentimental value. For him, things were just things, and the apartment was a space where he spent his nights, not his life. This lack of life in Raphael's home was something that began to intrigue her, a clue that there was something behind his impassive facade. Little by little, the young teacher saw a depth in this distant man that she would never have imagined when she accepted him as her temporary husband. At the hospital, the couple followed the same choreography as the strangers they met. For Raphael's colleagues, the wedding was a total surprise, and he answers questions with the same firmness. But in a few words, while Anna gets used to smiling politely and remaining silent when people congratulate them. The doctor then introduces her to his friend, Dr. Kaio, his confidant and fellow student, who welcomes her with sympathy and a curious look. Kaio was the opposite of Raphael, giggly, outspoken, and talkative, always willing to break the ice and make jokes about anything. I never thought I'd see Raphael married. He's like a rock, you know? Immovable, jokes Kaio, winking at Anna, who smiles. Despite her initial discomfort, Anna realizes that Kaio's presence makes her feel more at ease, like a friendly and welcoming presence in an otherwise solitary environment. At home, Raphael and Anna establish a practical and organized routine. He wakes up early to go to the hospital, and she gets on with her daily activities and medical examinations. They both act as if they share a room for convenience. During breakfast, Raphael almost always limits himself to a formal good morning, while Anna, still trying to get used to his lack of spontaneity, looks for small subjects to start conversations that he seems to find unnecessary. That afternoon, Anna met Donna Vera, a middle-aged neighbor and motherly figure whom she had met at the hospital and who, coincidentally, lived in the same building as Raphael. Donna Vera was like a force of nature, determined to offer support and advice to anyone who needed it. "So you got married just like that, without warning?" she asks curiously as they drink tea in a small cafe near the building. Anna replies with a nervous laugh, admitting that everything had been quick. Donna Vera laughs and offers some advice on what she calls the art of coexistence, leaving Anna lighter and ready to face the next day with Raphael. On the third day of the wedding, an unexpected conversation changes the tone of the relationship. Anna opens up about her insecurities, saying that she felt out of place in his apartment. Raphael, for the first time, is willing to listen and, surprisingly, admits that perhaps he himself had closed off his space to anyone. "My life is so methodical because somehow it protects me," he says with a frankness that takes Anna by surprise. This glimpse of vulnerability leaves Anna intrigued, arousing in her a curiosity about what could have led Raphael to build such a thick barrier around himself. That evening, while she's reading on the sofa, Raphael comes over to talk. "Do you really like reading before bed?" he asks with a touch of genuine curiosity. She smiles and replies that books have always been her escape, her refuge, and her window to other worlds. He then comments on how he used to read medical books as a way of escaping from his own life. Anna laughs, and he smiles for the first time, a real, restrained smile, but full of a humanity she hadn't seen before. In the days that follow, Anna and Raphael begin to realize, without realizing it, that each has become part of the other's life in a subtle way. Although they try to carry on like two strangers fulfilling an agreement, small gestures reveal a mutual interest and growing respect. The daily interactions, the glances they exchange, and the forced coexistence are gradually transforming the way they see each other, creating a connection that transcends the marriage contract that brought them together. Over the next few weeks, Raphael and Anna adjust to their new routine. With their marriage formalized, he begins her intensive treatment at St. Joseph's Hospital, where he undergoes frequent examinations and consultations to monitor her progress. Raphael coordinates every detail with precision, and Anna comes to admire his competence, even if his professionalism sometimes makes her uncomfortable. She tries not to think too much about what the future holds, but the serious diagnosis still weighs heavily on her mind, and the treatment, however promising, reminds her of the struggle she is facing. One weekend, Raphael suggests that they spend the afternoon together, something that seemed unusual to Anna. "I thought it would be interesting for you to see the place where I grew up," he comments as they walk to the park by the Hudson River. It was a quiet place, surrounded by trees and with a wide view of the city. Raphael seemed more relaxed there, and Anna took the opportunity to observe him from a new perspective. They talk about Raphael's childhood, marked by a strict upbringing and a distant relationship with his parents. "I never had a united family, not like you talk about yours," he admits with a touch of bitterness in his voice. Anna is moved to see this vulnerability in Raphael, a facet he rarely showed. On a different afternoon, Anna invites him to visit the neighborhood where he lived until his diagnosis. It's a simple place with small stores and parks where he used to go for walks. Raphael seems out of place, but tries to follow her patiently. She takes him to a local market and buys a specific type of tea, his favorite since childhood. "This tea always reminds me of good days," she explains, trying to introduce him to a piece of her own history. Raphael, for the first time, seems curious to know more about her than just her diagnosis and appointments. He realizes that Anna, despite battling a serious condition, manages to appreciate the little things in life, something he had never tried to do until then. As they share these moments, Anna sees in Raphael a strength and a sense of responsibility that he rarely revealed. The exchange of experiences brings out a mutual empathy, and Anna begins to realize that there is much more behind the surgeon's rigid appearance. Raphael, on the other hand, begins to question himself. He is attracted to Anna's optimism and the way she transforms simplicity into something meaningful. Something inside him, however, warns him against this closeness, fearing that personal involvement will take him off focus. One fall afternoon, as they prepare dinner together, Raphael observes Anna laughing at something trivial, and something in his chest tightens. He feels a new sensation, something he hesitates to define, but which is becoming more and more present as they live together. Suddenly, she catches him off guard with an unexpected question. "Raphael, what would you do if you knew you had limited time?" He remains silent, reflecting, and his answer comes as an almost inaudible whisper. "I never thought about it." They exchange a long look, and she seems to read a deeper truth in his eyes than he would like to admit. A few days later, Anna undergoes a more intense treatment session, which leaves her weakened. Raphael accompanies her home, offering to stay close by if she needs anything. She, normally resistant, accepts his presence and, lying on the sofa, shares a little more of her story. She tells him about the loss of her father and the struggle her mother went through to support her. Raphael listens attentively, absorbing every word, and something inside him changes. He realizes that, over the course of living together, he has come to admire Anna's resilience, something that disarmed him and made him question his own strength. That night, Raphael, unable to sleep, decides that he needs to understand his own feelings better. He talks to his friend, Dr. Kaio, who notices his emotional confusion. Kaio teases him with a smile, asking him how he really feels about Anna. Raphael hesitates, but admits that there is something different, something he can no longer ignore. "Maybe you're feeling something real for the first time," Kaio suggests, leaving Raphael even more confused. At home, Anna begins to notice the subtleties in Raphael's behavior, the way he looks at her when he thinks she isn't seeing, the care he puts into every detail of his treatment, and the attention he pays to his every gesture. She sees in him a man fighting his own feelings, and, even though she knows it all started as an agreement, she begins to allow herself to feel something deeper. The weeks go by, and small gestures reveal the growing affection between the two. On a particularly difficult day, Raphael accompanies her on a walk to breathe fresh air and relieve the burden of the medical routine. They walk through the sunny streets of New York, and Raphael takes her to a bookstore she loves, where he observes the passion with which Anna talks about the books that have inspired her. In an unexpected gesture, he buys a book that she has mentioned as special to her. The simplicity of the gesture moves her, and for the first time she feels that he is going beyond the formal agreement. In a nervous laugh, Anna jokes that he's becoming a good husband. Raphael smiles, a shy but sincere smile, making it clear that something is changing between them. Every moment they spend together becomes a mutual lesson in patience and empathy. Anna sees Raphael not just as a flawless surgeon, but as someone with layers, and Raphael, in turn, begins to understand that life is more than control and precision. The bond they are building goes beyond any contract or diagnosis, and even without knowing what the future holds, they both feel that something special is being born between them. As the fall progressed, the coexistence between Raphael and Anna became more natural. The contract that once defined their interactions now seemed increasingly irrelevant. The shared routine had become something fluid, and they both realized, without admitting it, that the bond between them was stronger than any formality they had signed. Raphael made an effort to show Anna a little more of his world, and she reciprocated with the same sincerity. One Saturday, he decided to take her to a place he had never shared with anyone, the hospital memorial, where metal plaques pay tribute to the doctors and patients who have passed through. He explains in a low voice, that it was there that he decided he wanted to be a surgeon after losing his younger brother in a car accident. Anna listens in silence, feeling the pain behind every word, realizing that, for him, the hospital was more than a place of work. It was also a place of memories and mourning. In response, Anna takes him to a park in Brooklyn, where she used to walk with the students from the school where she worked. She describes how much the children inspire her and talks about her dream of becoming a mother. Raphael, touched by her sincerity, asks her with a softness she rarely shows, "And do you think about what it would be like with your own families?" She smiles sadly, saying that due to her illness, this dream seems more and more distant, something she had accepted with resignation. These exchanges create a new depth in their relationship, something that goes beyond caring or living together. Over the next few days, Raphael realizes that her every word and gesture makes him rethink his own life. He finds himself observing Anna differently, intrigued by the lightness with which she faces difficulties and the courage she shows in facing such a difficult reality. Anna, for her part, feels protected by Raphael's side, but tries to fight the growing feeling of affection, afraid of getting even more involved with someone who seems afraid to open up completely. Raphael begins to notice the impact Anna has on him. One morning, while they are having coffee together, she makes him laugh with a simple joke, something that seemed impossible weeks before. "I never thought you'd be able to laugh at such a silly thing," Anna comments, smiling, while he shakes his head in a mixture of amusement and surprise. He realizes that he hasn't laughed so genuinely in a long time and realizes that perhaps Anna has brought something back in him that he didn't even know he had lost. Over time, their relationship continues to deepen. Anna's appointments become more frequent, and she begins to face some complications in her treatment, which worries her. At one of these appointments, Raphael notices her distant gaze and, on an impulse, holds her hand, passing on a silent calm. She is surprised by the touch, and he lets go quickly, disconcerted by his own gesture. But the act creates an even stronger bond, a silent moment that transcends the agreement. Later, while they are watching a movie together, Anna falls asleep on the sofa. Raphael, not wanting to wake her, watches her in silence, fascinated by the peace in her expression. There, he realizes something that frightens him, the desire to protect her, not as a doctor, but as someone who cares deeply. He realizes that, alongside her, he is discovering a lighter, the next day brings a new insight way of life. In a conversation he never expected to feel, the friendly neighbor and mother figure, Anna confesses that she feels something special for Raphael, but fears that this will complicate their relationship. Donna Vera, with the wisdom of someone who has lived through a lot, advises her not to worry about what may or may not happen. "Love, dear, is always unexpected. Just live in the moment. You deserve this happiness," she says, giving her a comforting hug. Raphael also seeks advice. He talks again to Kaio, who, noticing the change in his friend, comments teasingly, "Maybe you're finally getting to know what it's like to care, Raphael. You don't have to run away from it." Raphael remains silent, but Kaio's words make him think. He fears opening up and losing control of his emotions, but realizes that perhaps what he's feeling for Anna is something that deserves attention. One evening, during an impromptu dinner, Anna looks at Raphael with a deep, serene gaze, confessing something she's been harboring in her heart for some time. "I feel safe with you, Raphael, in a way I never imagined." Raphael, not knowing how to respond, feels his heart race. He stares at her, trying to find the words, but all he can do is smile, a smile that brings out all the emotions he's been holding in. As autumn draws to a close, the bond between Raphael and Anna becomes something they can no longer ignore. The apartment, once just a place of forced cohabitation, is now a home with memories, laughter, and moments that they both treasure in silence. Small displays of affection become more natural, and each day is a step closer to something that both brings them closer and challenges them. They can no longer see their relationship as just a contract or mutual help. And even with the fear of what the future holds, Raphael and Anna decide to embrace the present, certain that, somehow, what they have built together has already changed them forever. For Raphael, her every gesture and word carries immeasurable weight, while Anna feels that, by his side, she has found something that transcends any treatment or health condition. As winter approaches, Raphael and Anna face challenges that put their bond to the test. At first, they both try to keep their feelings quiet, but daily gestures reveal the affection that is forming between them. Raphael, however, resists the idea of a deeper involvement, while Anna deals with a mixture of hope and fear. Each carries their own battle, and living together brings them together and drives them apart, like the tides of the Hudson that they both admire in silence. One freezing night, Raphael receives a wedding invitation from a colleague at the hospital, and Anna encourages him to attend. "It would be good for you to socialize a bit," she suggests, smiling. Raphael accepts the invitation, but when he thinks about the idea of going alone, he suggests that she accompany him. "It'll be easier to look like a normal life, won't it?" he jokes, and Anna, although surprised, agrees. Deep down, they both knew that her presence would make the occasion lighter and more bearable for Raphael. And for her, it was an opportunity to see the surgeon in a different environment, away from the stress of diagnoses and treatments. On the night of the party, Anna wears a blue dress that highlights her lightness and vitality, and Raphael can't hide the look of surprise and admiration. She notices and laughs, looking away, but her shy smile remains etched in his mind. When they arrive at the event, they realize the impact of their presence together. Raphael's colleagues, many of whom didn't believe in his sudden marriage, look at them with curiosity and admiration. Anna handles the stairs with a natural grace, but Raphael feels a little uncomfortable. However, when he sees her laughing and interacting with people, he realizes that everything seems easier around her. During the party, they end up being asked to dance, a request that Anna accepts lightly, pulling Raphael onto the dance floor. He hesitantly tries to keep up, but his formal, awkward posture ends up making her laugh. "Are you trying to dance or protect yourself?" she jokes, and he shyly admits that he's never been good at dancing. Anna laughs and tries to teach him a few steps, until they both lose themselves in light, loose laughter. The closeness, the touch of hands, and the complicit gaze create a unique moment, and, before they know it, they are looking at each other with an intensity that says more than any words. That night, as they walk home, the silence between them is profound and revealing. Both are aware of the feeling that is growing, but neither dares to break the tension. Anna says goodbye with a light touch on his shoulder and goes to her room, leaving Raphael alone, struggling with the whirlwind of emotions that surround him. He feels the urge to say something, but fears the consequences, afraid of how his life might change if he accepted what he really feels. The next day, a new phase in Anna's treatment begins, and the complications start to become more visible. She faces more severe side effects, which leave her weak and often without the energy for simple activities. Raphael accompanies her during her appointments and procedures, increasingly worried and frustrated to see the person he has learned to admire suffer so intensely. During a difficult session, Anna faints and needs immediate care. Raphael reacts promptly, taking extra care of her, but his expression reveals a more than professional concern, something that the other doctors also notice. After the consultation, Raphael takes her back home and offers to stay, to which Anna gratefully accepts. That night, sitting next to him on the sofa, she finally lets herself vent about her fear of the future. "Sometimes I feel like I'm losing the strength to fight," she admits, her voice full of emotion. Raphael holds her hand, his expression soft and determined. "As long as I'm here, you don't have to fight alone," he whispers, and her warm touch on his hand reveals a complicity that they both know goes beyond any agreement or contract. In the days that follow, the atmosphere between them becomes even more intense and full of unspoken meanings. Raphael finds himself constantly thinking about her and finds himself looking at her in a way that reveals much more than he would like. One snowy afternoon, while they are both having tea in the living room, Anna breaks the silence. "I never imagined that I would find someone who would help me so much to cope with all this," she says, in a tone of gratitude that carries something deeper. Raphael feels his heart racing, but tries to keep his posture. I never thought this decision would change my life. The situation culminates when, he replies, on a rainy night, in a reflective tone, Raphael decides to open his heart, even without using explicit words. He approaches her, and they exchange a look that says everything they've both been trying to suppress. Without thinking, he gently touches her face, and she closes her eyes, feeling the touch that seemed to say everything he couldn't verbalize. The moment is interrupted by an emergency call, but the feeling that arises there remains etched for both of them. Raphael leaves to answer the call, but the thought of Anna stays with him. When he returns, hours later, he finds Anna still awake, waiting for him with a shy smile. I couldn't sleep, she admits, and he understands why. Their conversation is simple, but full of meaning. Maybe it's because I couldn't either, he says, finally accepting that his feelings for her can no longer be denied or repressed. This moment of honesty puts them on new and unexpected ground. They both know that Anna's time is uncertain, but the certainty of what they feel seems to override any fear. They exchange a silent look, and for the first time, Raphael allows himself to imagine a future with her, even though he knows it may never come. The intensity of what they are experiencing is enough to give meaning to what, until then, seemed like an impersonal agreement. The first complications of Anna's treatment worsen, and the side effects become more intense, shaking her physically and emotionally. Days of fever and weakness alternate with brief moments of improvement, but the deterioration is visible. Raphael watches closely, following every test, every result, but unable to do more than the treatments already indicated. His impotence in the face of her suffering eats away at him, revealing the depth of his feelings for Anna. During a consultation with a specialist, Raphael and Anna hear about the possibility that the treatment will not have the expected effect. The seriousness of the diagnosis finally becomes undeniable, and Anna notices the weight in Raphael's eyes when he hears the news. On the way back, the silence between them is heavy and full of unspoken tension. Anna tries to hold her head high, but Raphael notices her distress. When they arrive home, he takes her hand before she walks away, saying in a low voice, "You're not alone in this." This simple statement makes her smile, despite her worry, and she lets herself be enveloped by the security he transmits, a feeling she can no longer ignore. The weeks that follow are marked by an exhausting cycle of treatments. On one of the worst days, Anna suffers an intense crisis that sends her back to hospital. Raphael is by her side when she wakes up, holding her hand with a silent firmness, without looking away. She tries to smile, but her voice is shaky. "I don't know if I can go on, Raphael." He looks at her deeply, and his answer is full of determination. "We'll get through this, Anna. I'm here." The sincerity in his tone brings Anna to tears, and she feels that, even in the midst of her pain, he is her greatest source of strength. In an effort to help her face the situation more lightly, Raphael proposes small outings, brief escapes from the treatments. One afternoon, he takes her for a walk in a botanical garden. Even though she is weak, Anna enjoys the moment, enchanted by the peace of the place. They walk together, and Raphael observes the sparkle in her eyes as she gazes at the flowers, feeling increasingly involved by the strength and beauty she brings to his life. She tells him that she has always wanted to travel, to see new places, but that now she doesn't know if she will have the time. The sadness in her voice is deep, and Raphael holds her hand tightly. "If it's up to me, you'll have all the time you need," he says, with an intensity that leaves her speechless. Anna, on the other hand, begins to realize that, alongside Raphael, she is discovering a new reason to fight. In a conversation with Donna Vera, she confesses that she feels something deep for him, something she didn't expect to find in the midst of so many adversities. "He's more than a friend or a support. It's as if he's become a part of me," she reveals, her voice trembling. Donna Vera smiles and encourages her not to fear this feeling, reminding her that love always appears at the most unexpected moments. In a rare moment of openness, Raphael also admits to his friend Kaio that he is afraid of what he feels for Anna, fearing that he will lose control over his emotions and, even more so, over his own life. Kaio advises him to face the situation honestly, reminding him that love is a worthwhile risk. Maybe this is the first time you're really living, Raphael, Kaio suggests, leaving him pensive. A few days later, Anna faces a new complication, and Raphael is faced with the worst reality, the possibility that she won't resist. He spends the night by her side, unable to move away, and, in a moment of weakness, admits quietly, "I don't know what I'm going to do if you go." Anna, surprised by his sincerity, takes him by the hand, trying to calm him down. "Then let's live each day as if it were the only one," she whispers, and they exchange a deep look full of unspoken emotions. From that moment on, they decide to enjoy every moment together, allowing themselves to live fully despite the uncertainty. Raphael tries to take Anna to places she has always wanted to see, adapting to her limitations, and the two create precious memories that strengthen their bond. One of these moments is an evening when he organizes a small surprise dinner in her apartment, with her favorite foods and soft music playing in the background. She thanks him with a soft kiss on the cheek, a gesture that expresses more than any words. The emotional and physical strain is visible in both of them, but Raphael's presence by her side keeps her strong. At one of her appointments, when she saw the exhausted look on his face, Anna took his hand and said firmly, "I need you to take care of yourself too." He reassures her that everything he does is for her. The affection between them grows more and more, and they both feel that, somehow, the time they share is more precious than any future they imagined before. As the days go by, Raphael begins to realize that the pain of seeing Anna suffer is outweighed by the desire to see her live. In a moment of honesty, he confesses, "I wish I could protect you from all this, but above all, I want you to know that I love you." Anna, moved, responds with a soft smile, and they both understand that this feeling is both a source of strength and a silent promise. For them, the idea of a certain and secure future is irrelevant. Every shared moment becomes a gift, something that transcends suffering and limitations. And even in the face of uncertainty, they both feel that they have found a love that, although unexpected, is true and transformative, something they can never ignore. As the winter deepens, Anna's condition also worsens, and the reality of her critical state becomes impossible to ignore. As the disease progresses, Raphael finds himself trapped by his own feelings, fearing that his love for her will only intensify the pain of the loss that, on some level, he feels is getting closer. He realizes that, next to her, he is no longer the man who started this contract. Raphael is someone who loves deeply and is willing to sacrifice everything so that Anna feels safe and protected. This new Raphael is, above all, vulnerable, and that frightens him. Anna, aware of the situation, decides that she needs to protect him from a suffering that, according to her, would be inevitable. In a moment of pain and courage, she announces her decision to end the marriage, saying that perhaps it would be better for both of them to go their separate ways before the situation got any worse. Raphael is in shock, unable to accept her decision, which, in his eyes, seemed like an attempt to push him away in order to spare him a painful end. She tries to convince him that the estrangement is necessary, but he insists, looking her straight in the eye. "Do you really think that being away from you would make this less painful for me?" he asks, his voice laden with frustration and sadness. The two spend the night arguing, each expressing their feelings, until Anna admits that she's afraid of leaving him with an unbearable void. "I don't want to be a memory that you carry with pain, Raphael. I want you to move on, to be happy, even without me." Her words strike a deep blow, and Raphael realizes how desperate she is to protect him. He nevertheless responds firmly, "I'd rather live through this pain 1,000 times than walk away from you now. If we're together, then let's go all the way." The decision creates a new bond between them, a silent promise that whatever the future holds, they will face everything side by side. After this conversation, they both seem more determined to enjoy every moment. Raphael plans little surprises to cheer her up, and they both visit places she loves. On one of these days, they decide to watch the sunset from the Brooklyn Bridge, an experience that Anna always mentioned as a dream. The cold winter wind envelopes them as Raphael holds her by the hand, helping her to balance as she crosses the bridge. When they reach the other side, they embrace in silence, allowing themselves to just feel the moment. At home, Raphael is torn between happiness and the fear of losing the love he has finally found. He confides in Kaio that, even knowing the consequences, he has never felt more alive. Kaio, touched by Raphael's sincerity, supports him in his decision to be by her side until the end. Sometimes the greatest courage is to love, even if you know it can destroy you, says Kaio, and Raphael feels the weight of truth in these words. One night, while Anna sleeps, Raphael watches her in silence, his heart heavy with the closeness of the inevitable. He approaches her and whispers softly, almost as if to himself, "I'd do it all over again, even if I knew how it would end." And then, without him realizing it, a tear falls, a sincere expression of the love and pain he feels. The next morning, Anna notices that he is quieter and asks him if something is bothering him. Raphael then decides to reveal something he's been holding back for some time. He tells the story of his brother, the loss that marked him, and why he was so afraid to love. "I thought that if I never got attached to anyone, I'd never feel that pain again," he confesses, his voice breaking. Anna, listening, comforts him, reminding him that, despite the pain, the love and memories they've created together will always be the force that guides him, even after she's gone. The conversation transforms their relationship, bringing it to a level of acceptance and understanding that transcends any contract or diagnosis. They decide that together, they will support each other, facing each day as a victory and as a precious memory. Raphael finally allows himself to be vulnerable, and Anna is relieved to see that he understands the depth of her feelings. A few days later, during one of his treatment sessions, Raphael is called into emergency for surgery. He is reluctant to leave her, but Anna convinces him, insisting that he cannot abandon his patients. "Go on, Raphael. I'll be here waiting for you," she says, and he, although afraid, leaves her with a kiss on the forehead. The surgery is long and exhausting, and at the end, Raphael rushes back to Anna's room, only to find her smiling, as if she had never doubted that he would return. The moment moves him, and he feels that, more than ever, he needs to be by her side until the end. That night, after returning to the apartment, Anna and Raphael make a silent and intimate decision. They know that every day together is a gift, and, for the first time, they let go of their fear of the future. The initial contract between them is now just a formality, something that no longer carries weight in their lives. Every moment together is lived with intensity, every conversation, every smile, every touch, as if it were their last. Their bond thus becomes a promise of unshakable love, something that transcends time and health. For Raphael, being by Anna's side is no longer a choice, but a necessity, a reason to go on living, regardless of what lies ahead. Anna, for her part, feels at peace, sure that, by his side, she has found not just a temporary husband, but true love, something she never imagined she would find in the midst of the storm that was her life. They embraced in silence, feeling each other's warmth, aware that they would face whatever came, together. That instant, although brief, carries all the love, struggle, and courage of a couple who decided, against all odds, to embrace the present and fight until the last moment. The days that follow are lived with intensity and surrender, each moment a precious memory that Raphael and Anna share without hesitation. Anna's illness is progressing, and she is aware that time may be running out. Raphael, however, refuses to think about what might happen and remains steadfast by her side, cherishing every second. One morning, Anna wakes up feeling weak and without the strength to get up. She tries to smile at Raphael, but he notices the pain in her eyes. Sitting on the side of the bed, he holds her hand, the warm, safe touch she has learned to love. Remember when we talked about the future? I think, as uncertain as it is, there's nothing more I'd want, she whispers, with a serene look on her face. Raphael feels the tears coming, but he stays strong, stroking her cheek carefully. For both of them, that moment brings a new acceptance. The uncertainty that has always hung over them is now no longer a shadow, but a motivation to live the now with all its intensity. Raphael begins to understand that, even with the fear of loss, the love he has found at Anna's side is worth more than any future pain. One cold afternoon, Anna receives a special visit. Dona Vera brings a small gift, something she has lovingly prepared. It's a patchwork quilt, made up of pieces of fabric that represent moments and feelings that Anna has shared with her. When she sees the present, Anna can't contain her emotion. It's as if each little piece tells a story, she says, holding the quilt gratefully. Raphael watches her and, seeing the emotion in her eyes, realizes that for Anna, the simple act of being remembered is an incalculable gift. That night, Raphael, deeply moved, makes a silent decision. He spends the night beside her, and while Anna sleeps, he quietly organizes his things. On an impulse, he picks up a small camera and begins to record moments, creating short recordings of every moment together. He captures Anna's smile at dawn, the sparkle in her eyes when he surprises her with a special coffee, the softness of her voice as they talk about fond memories. He wants to save every detail of her, something he can keep forever. When he shows Anna the camera, she is surprised and smiles, delighted with the idea. They start recording messages to each other, moments of affection and words that will live on forever. Raphael records himself, saying how she has changed his life, and Anna, in response, expresses her love and gratitude, knowing that whatever happens, that love will be with them forever. On one of the afternoons of recording, Anna finds the strength to open up. I never imagined I'd find someone who loved me like this, Raphael. You've turned the time I have into something more, something I'll take with me. Even after everything, she says, her voice breaking. Raphael listens to her, and for the first time he allows himself to cry alongside her, without hiding how much he loves her and how much it means. Over the next few days, Raphael and Anna start visiting places they've always mentioned, enjoying each outing as a celebration of what they've shared. On one of these outings, while walking through a snow-covered park, Anna stumbles and he holds her close. They laugh together, with a lightness that only love allows, and Raphael realizes that, even with a heavy heart, he has found a real reason to smile, to live intensely. One evening, Anna invites Raphael to dance in the living room. With soft music playing in the background, he leads her, their bodies in perfect sync, as if each movement says what words cannot express. She lays her head on his shoulder, and they sway gently, feeling each other's warmth. In that instant, there is no illness, no contract, just the genuine love that unites them. As the days go by, Anna's health becomes even weaker, and Raphael realizes that perhaps they are close to the end. But he refuses to show any sadness, focusing only on giving her moments of peace and joy. One morning, he prepares breakfast and brings it to her in bed, smiling as he watches her savor every detail. "You make the best toast I've ever tasted," she jokes, and they laugh together, creating a lightness that turns sadness into something bearable. As the day draws to a close, Raphael and Anna have one last intimate conversation. Lying together, he holds her hand and in a low tone says, "Anna, you're the love I never knew I needed. I love you in a way I didn't know was possible." She smiles, her eyes shining, and replies, "I'll always be with you, Raphael. And that love is what will guide me, wherever I am." That night, Anna falls asleep in his arms, and Raphael stays awake, observing every detail of her face, every light breath, feeling the peace that only true love can bring. For him, this farewell is both painful and healing, proof that love can transform any suffering into something beautiful and eternal. Over time, Raphael realizes that the love he experienced with Anna is more than just a painful memory. It's a force that drives him to make the children's center a reality, fulfilling the dream they shared. He feels her presence in every patient, in every child he helps, and he knows that even though his time with her was short, the impact of that love will last forever. Anna is gone, but their love remains. And for Raphael, every day is a new beginning, a reminder that love, even in the most difficult times, is what really gives life meaning. After Anna leaves, her absence transforms Raphael's life in a way he had never imagined. Days and nights blend into a deep emptiness, but little by little he begins to realize that Anna hasn't left completely. Memories of their times together accompany him, giving him the strength to move on and find renewed purpose. He dedicates himself to the Children's Foundation project with a passion that arises from the pain and love he shared with her. Each child who enters the hospital receives the care and compassion he learned from Anna, as if she were still by his side, guiding him. In the treatment center, Raphael decides to create a wing in honor of Anna. The walls are decorated with inspiring phrases and photos of moments that capture the joy and lightness she brought to his life and the lives of everyone around him. One of these phrases, the one that most represents the message she left him, is engraved on a plaque at the entrance. Love today, because that's what we really have. This is the motto he adopts in his own life, something that reminds him every day that love is more powerful than any obstacle. Time passes, and Raphael finds ways to turn pain into something meaningful. He becomes a central figure in the foundation, working with dedication to fulfill the dream he shared with Anna. When he sees the children he cares for, he often feels as if she is smiling at him, giving him the strength to carry on and remembering that every little life he helps is an extension of their love. Over time, the hospital recognizes the impact of Raphael's work, and he is invited to give talks on the role of empathy and compassion in medicine, passing on the lessons he has learned alongside Anna. One evening, while reviewing the recordings he made during the last few months with her, Raphael allows himself to feel again the weight and beauty of each moment. He smiles, cries, and relives every detail as if she were still by his side. In one of the recordings, Anna looks directly into the camera and says, "If you're seeing this, it's because somehow we're still together. I believe that love never ends, and wherever I am, I'm always with you." He feels the warmth of these words, a sense of peace and connection that fills him, reminding him that their love is eternal, something that death has not been able to erase. Little by little, Anna's presence stops being a painful memory and becomes a constant source of inspiration. Raphael realizes that living intensely and with purpose is the best way to honor the love they had. Every day is a new chance to spread the kindness and compassion she taught him, and he begins to live with the aim of helping others. And Raphael finds joy in small gestures that he didn't notice before. The seasons change, but his love for Anna remains, growing silently and serenely, like a tree that grows stronger over the years. He learns to appreciate every detail, from the conversations with the patients to the moments of silence, where he feels her presence in every ray of sunshine and every gentle breeze. One day, Raphael finds a letter that Anna wrote to him before she left. In the letter, she thanks him for all the love and all the moments they shared, expressing her wish for him to move on and find happiness, even without her. Raphael, if you're reading this, I want you to know that you are more than anything I ever imagined. Thank you for every laugh, every tear, and for giving me more than I ever dreamed of. I love you, and I'll always be with you. Be happy for both of us. He keeps the letter with affection, feeling that she somehow knew that he would need that last bit of support to move on. Raphael's journey becomes a constant search for ways to honor the legacy Anna left him. He dedicates himself more fully to the Foundation's project, extending the reach of the work to benefit other people who need hope and love. He knows that this is the greatest gift he could leave in her memory, something that will help others find their own strength, just as Anna taught him to find his. In the end, Raphael realizes that true love is something that goes beyond time, something that perpetuates itself in the actions and memories we cultivate. He becomes a more complete man, transformed by the experience of having loved someone so intensely and truly. Anna and Raphael's story is a testimony to love's ability to heal, even in the most difficult situations, and to the power of memories to transform pain into something eternal and beautiful. As the years go by, Raphael realizes that Anna will always live on in him, in the foundation, and in the hearts of the people he touches with his work. And even if time takes its course, their love remains like a soft, constant light that never goes out.